The courtroom was dead silence, except for the soft sound of paws on marble. Captain Jason Reeds stood shackled, wrists bound loosely in front of him. His uniform, once a badge of honor, now felt like a costume in the worst performance of his life. The prosecution had called him reckless, disobedient, a traitor to orders. And now, he stood alone, except for Max. Max, a highly trained German shepherd who had served with Jason on 2 tours in Afghanistan, sat dutifully beside the defense table. His eyes never left his handler. His ears flicked every time the judge or prosecutor spoke too harshly. He didn't understand the words, but he understood tone and pain. The charges against Jason were serious: disobeying a direct order, leaving his unit's position without permission, allegedly compromising the mission, all because, as the military report stated, he went looking for a dog. But it wasn't just a dog. Max wasn't a pet. He was a fellow soldier, a bomb-sniffing, life-saving, battle-tested warrior who had saved dozens of lives. And when Max went missing during a surprise mortar attack on their compound, Jason made a split-second decision. He left cover, defied protocol, and vanished into the dust and gunfire to find him. Hours later, they returned, Jason bleeding, limping, Max with singed fur and trembling legs. But alive. Both of them. The court didn't care about the bond. They saw only disobedience. But Jason couldn't explain what Max meant, not in ways that cold transcripts and legal terms could capture. On the second day of the trial, Max did something no one expected. As the prosecutor raised his voice, pointing fingers and quoting procedure, Max stood up. Slowly, silently. He walked to the center of the courtroom and sat down directly between Jason and the judge, his tail tucked close, his ears alert. He raised his right paw and placed it on Jason's boot. The room froze. Max didn't move. He just looked up at Jason with quiet loyalty, as if to say, "I was there. I know." The judge's voice broke the silence, softer this time. "Captain Reeds, would you mind telling us what exactly happened that day? Not from the report. From you." Jason took a breath. A real one. "I didn't leave my post to save a dog," he began, voice low and firm. "I left because my teammate was out there. Max isn't just fur and fangs. He's the reason 3 of my guys are still breathing. He found the bomb in that schoolyard. He alerted us before the convoy drove over that IED. He took shrapnel to the side so I wouldn't." Jason's voice cracked. He kept going. "When the shelling started, we scrambled. We got separated. I called for Max. No answer. I waited for the order, but none came. And something in me said he was still alive. That he needed me." He paused. It's insane. I left the bunker. I disobeyed. I made the call, and I'd make it again, because soldiers don't leave each other behind." Max, still sitting with his paw on Jason's boot, leaned closer. The jury didn't flinch. One of them wiped her eyes. The judge leaned back in his chair, quiet for a long while. Then he motioned to the clerk. "Strike that last accusation from the record. Let the record reflect that this court recognizes extraordinary circumstance in the case of Captain Reeds." Jason didn't hear the rest. All he saw was Max, tail wagging now, just slightly. After court recess, Jason crouched beside him, unshackled now. He pressed his forehead to Max's. "You saved me again, buddy." But the story didn't end there. That night, news of the courtroom moment went viral. A reporter's quiet phone video, just a minute of Max placing his paw on Jason's boot, touched millions. Veterans commented, saying they understood. Military families shared the clip with pride. Animal lovers flooded the military office with messages. "Please don't punish someone for loving like that." The next morning, Jason's charges were dropped completely, honorably discharged, not court-martialed, but with no clear path forward. He and Max returned to a quiet life. an apartment just outside of Denver. Mornings filled with slow walks and coffee. Max still flinched at fireworks, but slept better knowing Jason was nearby. 1 week later, a knock at the door changed everything. Colonel Rivera, Jason's old commanding officer, stood there, hands behind his back. "We want you to speak," he said. "At the academy, at schools, at PTSD groups. About what happened. About Max. If you're up for it." Jason wasn't sure at first, but Max wagged his tail, almost like he agreed. Though Jason spoke, he told audiences about the night they got ambushed, about crawling through smoke and rubble, calling Max's name, about finding him trapped under a collapsed gate, his eyes barely open but his tail thumping when he saw Jason. He told them about the court, the silence, the paw on his boot. Every time Jason spoke, Max sat beside him, calm, watchful. The story wasn't just Jason's. It was theirs. Months passed. Then, a letter arrived. From a woman in Kansas. Her son had joined the military after high school. He was struggling, angry, quiet, but after seeing the story, he asked if they could adopt a retired military dog. They did. His name was Bolt. And something shifted. The boy began smiling again. Jason read that letter 5 times. Later, at a veterans benefit dinner, Jason met that same boy, now 19, with Bolt by his side. The young man saluted Jason, his voice cracking. "Your story saved my life." Jason looked at Max, his heart full. They didn't need medals, didn't need headlines. They had something stronger. One winter evening, Jason and Max walked along a trail dusted with snow. The sun was setting behind the trees. The silence wasn't heavy like the courtroom. It was peaceful now, full of closure. Jason knelt beside Max. "You did good, boy." Max leaned in, resting his head on Jason's knee. And for the first time in a long time, Jason felt whole. Because sometimes justice isn't in the papers, it's in the quiet moments, the loyal companions, the unspoken truths, and a paw placed gently on your boot when the world is trying to break you.